Good morning. You want to talk about King? So yeah, as Stefan said, we're currently King employees, so we're making all those addictive little games. And before we were King, we were working on many different...
You didn't introduce yourself.
Oh, you didn't introduce myself. I'm this guy here. I work for this guy who works for King. That's that guy. And I'm the senior UI artist, so basically I do everything that has to be with user interface, buttons, maps, and whatnot. So there you go. And yeah, before that we were working in different aspects of the entertainment industry.
Yeah,
video games.
Everything that is actually not King, as you can say, it's really like the most opposite thing you can find for.
Yeah.
So Dead Island, I don't know if anybody on you know this game. Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. So AAA games, console, PC. Next one, comic books. Still not pretty candies to smash.
Yeah.
A lot of dead people actually. Yeah.
Also some more hardcore games, mostly about explosions and stuff. More comic and general art, and also some children games and franchises from renowned companies. I think what we agreed upon, or awesome conclusion about our background in many years of working in different entertainment, in the entertainment industry, is that we got to the obvious remark that Monday mornings suck, and that's going to be our talk today.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not so much of the obvious remark. It's more like, aside from the feeling that it's that feeling you get on the Sunday nights or Monday mornings when you're going to work. It's like, why is it really happening? Why is this kind of acid thing going on here happens, especially in the creative industry, where we should be really happy and full of expectations to start the working day. And
to be fair, it's every morning, not only Mondays.
Yeah,
so.
not only Mondays.
Yeah.
Fridays are kind of
except
okay.
this morning. This morning is wonderful.
But what we've been questioning this to ourselves a bit, and after doing some research, what we found out is that perhaps this is not an absolute, of course, but perhaps it's because how companies work nowadays, and it's mostly about how they deal with boundaries.
You ruined my joke.
I ruined your joke. Okay, let's go back. Joke.
I had a whole speech about rectangles. Yeah, you ruined it. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
No notes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, man.
And so
boundaries. Sorry.
It's around the clock.
We just lost 10 minutes now.
Yeah. Should we start over? So it's, don't get me wrong, boundaries in art are usually a good thing. I can definitely advocate for that, especially having limits, so we don't have that fright of the white paper thing and all that. But the boundaries we're talking about here are mostly linked to workplace environments and workplace practices, so it's mostly time and space boundaries and how they affect us. And kind of basically, we can get back to the early 1900s. This is Henry Ford's production pipeline. But this could go on actually from the early 1700s or mid 1700s when the Industrial Revolution took place, and this whole new way of dealing with mass production came at hand for the humans, and we've embraced it, and it's been very, very positive for us in many aspects, but definitely not in the creative aspect.
But the point we want to make is not that this is not a valid model. We talk about creativity, so for creativity this doesn't really apply.
Of course, I mean,
like for example,
we got this because of that.
Exactly. Like for car building stuff, for example, I don't want the people who build my car to be creative, like, oh, let's not put any brakes or something like that. So it's really cool to have like defined processes when it counts. So it's not to say this part is not good.
Yeah, it's not about saying it's wrong. It's saying perhaps creative processes are not necessarily aligned to development pipelines. And even though it's kind of a feeling that we all have, it's like we kind of have that contrasting feeling of I know how to do my stuff, but the processes require something different, a different method. We still haven't been able to really evolve from this system, and throughout time we can see it happening over and over again, be it creative industries or not. But in creative industries is happening a lot still.
And as it was in the notes, but we don't have the notes. So.
We don't have the notes.
Basically, it's the first thing they ask for you when you have a contract, time, and
availability of time and availability of space. So basically, any contract you get for media or whatever, it's about you're gonna do 8 hours and you're gonna do it in our place.
It doesn't really say in your contract you have to be creative or whatever. It's almost about time.
And those are very heavy remarks, especially because once you're inside, it's kind of difficult to really align the creative process to what the industrial process requires. And
sorry.
Yeah, of course we can go back.
Too fast, man. Just to make the point that it starts from the beginning, because if you look at this image, this looks pretty much like a classroom. So we taught like that since we're kids.
Yeah.
That's the most valuable way to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which might not be true.
No, but it's our whole education system. But I don't know Sweden because I haven't been here for so long. But usually, Western education systems are usually based on the same industrial practices. There's very knowledgeable people doing a lot of research about it. Mostly, Sir Ken Robertson, I think, is doing a pretty good work about it.
Maybe it changed since then because we're pretty old. Maybe it's not like that anymore.
It's not like that anymore. No. So, but basically, what happens is that this process completely eradicates the art processes from the equation. It's understandable. You have a quantifiable outcome, so you can measure it very well. But are you actually paying attention to what the creative process needs? Are you actually paying attention to what your creative people require to work? There's a quote by, I think it was Stephen King.
Who's not working at King.
Who's not working at King. That's a bad joke.
Yeah, sorry.
That says that if you can't find time to read, then you can't find time to write. And that kind of encapsulates the whole idea of how creative processes work. Unless you consume, in a way, what you're producing, and you separate time to learn over that, then you won't really have any resource available for you to do your job. And in current pipelines, that doesn't work like that at all. It's just you have a job, you have to do it, just do it from point A to point B, very linear. So that's kind of like the big contrast, is the industrial scheme against the creative scheme, where industrial has a blueprint that gets pretty much thrown into the industrial pipeline, and then a product comes out, and there's pretty low exploration involved around this area.
Pretty much know exactly what you're going to get there.
Exactly. And
anybody can do this. It's not,
it's completely, you're just a cog in the big machinery. And that's not necessarily how creative endeavors work. Usually it's the other way around. It's you have a problem and you need to find a solution for it. And I think Ray Bradbury said creativity is like facing a Medusa. You can't really go straight forward because you will be turned to stone. You need to find your way around it and sneak through. And
what you don't get is that this icon is supposed to be better than
it's much better. It's much better. It's smaller. So.
Yeah. Slightly rotated. So.
Yes. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. Some big companies are starting to realize this. Mostly Google and Facebook, and it's not really a coincidence that these are the top grossing companies and top valued companies, and at the same time they're driving change. they're basically doing a disruption not only in the services they provide, but in how they work. And they're really getting away from this industrial pipeline methodology. It's more about giving people the space and the time that they need to get their ideas running. And
yeah, because something we forgot, because we screwed up the presentation,
yeah.
Sorry. From our experience, we work in all kind of different settings. We work from like freelancing in our own bedroom, whatever, small studio, massive studios. So yeah, so we kind of tried all the different organization types, and now that's what we're trying to do at King. Yeah.
But mostly Facebook and Google are the ones who are nailing it.
We're following.
Yeah. And what do we think that they're doing is that they're actually understanding how the creative processes work, and this is a bit of knowledge from the people who are in power, but also have a lot of communication with the people who need these processes to be done in a different way. So basically all of us. And also they are enabling and respecting these processes, as opposed to, hey, just go there, do your job, and don't complain about not having nice offices or stuff like that.
So the downside of this, I have the question all the time when people are visiting our office or whatever, or even my daughter, she asks me, so when do you actually work? Because it looks like we just play pool and like whatever, drink coffee.
Yeah, but it's not only, people can get the wrong idea usually when they go into an office and see the colorful things and pool tables and arcade machines. It's not really about all these little perks that obviously make the day, they make the day more bearable, but it's not just that. That's just infrastructure. If you don't have time, if you don't have allocated time for this, then it's just as well you might not have it. And at the same time, it's a bit of a responsible part from our part, from the employee part, that you need to be professional about this. So it's a compromise on both ends. Otherwise, this process will never meet a good outcome.
Yeah, it's a danger mostly for junior people who don't really see the reasoning with this, and they sometimes think they're working at Disneyland, and they actually forget that they have to work. So you have to. It's, as Fernando says, it's a process, and people need to understand what is it behind it.
Yeah, it's you need to achieve the right balance, but this is basically what we think it's wrong with the current work methodologies and
for creativity.
For creativity, exactly. So I think that's about it. It was like 5 minutes longer, but no notes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.